From the land of lakes, this is 10,000 Takes. Brought to you by Minnesota Score Radio. Wally and Eric back for yet another week. We are ecstatic. You've tuned us in.
Yes.
And as always, a lot to get into.
I see you've gone patriotic. You're missing the white. Well, you're white, but I mean, we get the red and the blue going.
The tan is gone, unfortunately. Here in Minnesota, tough to keep that tan sustained. But yeah, patriotism is alive and well.
Okay.
Just like the New England Patriots.
Yes. Well,
at least for another week, right?
Yes, exactly. Okay. I think that if we talk Vikings, we can't go much further without talking the elephant in the room, which is going to be the quarterback situation, of course, in the offseason. And before we get too deep into that, because there's going to be a list of guys available, and I think among them is going to be Aaron Rodgers. He did not say definitively after they got beat up this past Monday night whether he is finished or not. Now, he had been indicating all season long that Aaron Rodgers, this would be it. Do you think he would be a better fit this coming season than he was this past season? I saw that argument in the Star Trib. I don't know. I think that they could have used him this past season, but your thoughts?
I think certainly he has more toys to play with in Minnesota than he did in Pittsburgh. You know, you have a Justin Jefferson, a Jordan Addison, a TJ Hawkinson, and this is assuming they all come back. You've got Aaron Jones, and
we got to keep Addison out of the clink, though, man.
At least he wasn't driving the other day. I try to look at the positive and everything. Glass half full. I think, and Aaron Rodgers probably would thrive in a dome, where the footing is more pure. But listen, if the offensive line is not fixed, we saw what happened when they faced Houston the other night. The Houston defense is clearly Super Bowl caliber.
Right.
They absolutely overpowered Pittsburgh, and they did it with primarily a four-man rush. So if Rodgers came here and the Vikings still have their offensive line issues, and you don't have Christian Darrisaw or you can't count on him. Rodgers is 42, but he looked like he was 52 Monday night. But I put a little bit of the blame on that because Houston's defense is absolutely lights out.
And they got some guy that I remember wore a Viking uniform, this Daniil something or other.
Oh, my goodness.
Boy, he was just tearing through that Pittsburgh Steelers defensive line, wasn't he?
He's one of the more overpowering and physically imposing guys I've ever seen in my years of covering sports, and a very nice guy, by the way, off the field. But on the field, he turns into a demon, which is what you want. So he's got the power, but then he has the spin move. You've got offensive linemen grabbing air. If you don't get your hands on Daniil, he's by you or he runs over you.
Yeah, well, maybe he looked at some of those Chuck Foreman films from back in the day. Yeah. He's got the spin doctor moves. Yeah. All right. So let's dig into the way back here. Speaking of Chuck Foreman, putting Fran Tarkenton aside. Okay. So the Vikings clearly are going to go get another quarterback, right?
Here we go. The door keeps revolving.
Yes, it does. Okay. In your mind, who are the next three best quarterbacks in Vikings history? And four come to mind immediately for me. Which one are you going to eliminate becomes the question.
Well, I'm going to base my answers on guys that actually played a few years, because in the history of the Vikings, they don't have a lot of longevity at the quarterback position. So Fran, you're right, is number one. Slam dunk. I think Dante Culpepper probably is two. Tommy Kramer would be three. Now, on the bubble, in my opinion, would be somebody like Randall Cunningham, because he was a one-hit wonder the year they went to the NFC Championship game. Brett Favre had one great season. But if you're going to ask me who my fourth guy is, it's Joe Kapp. Joe Kapp and what he did in 1969 was unbelievable. But then they had the contract dispute the next year, and he went to New England. So he was another basically one-and-done, two-and-done guy. Name me somebody that's outside of Kirk Cousins that's been here longer than 3 or 4 years.
That's who I was going to go with. I was going to say Kirk Cousins. And how about him coming back and playing for your Minnesota? Well, I don't think that's out of the question here. I mean, if you're thinking about bringing Aaron Rodgers, would you think about bringing Kirk Cousins? Or do you think that Aaron Rodgers at this stage is better than Kirk Cousins, or has always been better than Kirk Cousins?
I think you kick the tires on everything, and they're not going to be the only team, rumor has it, in the NFL looking for a quarterback.
That's true, too.
I guarantee you Pittsburgh's going to be. Obviously, if Rodgers doesn't go there, they need somebody, and there will be other teams doing that. What about Malik Willis over in Green Bay? I think a lot of people would be intrigued by that. You may have Geno Smith on the market. Kyler Murray. has had success. I doubt he's going back to Arizona.
Well, and Cleveland's going to be in the market for a quarterback too. They may say that Shedeur is going to come back and they're going to have somebody compete with him, but it's not going to be Dylan Gabriel. They're going to be on the market to try and bring a quarterback in. So you're right. There's a lot of teams that are going to be looking. And are the Vikings looking at only second-tier type of guys? And I think that that's a mistake.
No, I think you got to go after
a guy that can start.
Right. Look, the Vikings need to replicate what they did with Sam Darnold a year and a half ago in the offseason. They brought him in. It didn't make a big splash. Everybody said, oh, okay, Sam Darnold, because he didn't have much success with the Jets, the Panthers, and he was a clip holder on the 49ers on the sidelines holding that clipboard. But then he came here, and he'd already experienced the turbulence early in his career, and he thrived here. And, of course, they decided, well, we don't want you. We won't franchise tag you. Off to Seattle he goes, and they're the top seed in the NFC. So they got to find somebody in that category. I don't think you want to go too old. You know, Darnold's obviously in his prime. It's going to be a decision that really could forge the future of Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah and Kevin O'Connell. Because if a year from now the Minnesota Vikings aren't in the playoffs, or they get in and go one and done, for that regime, that would be 5 years and 0 playoff wins. Ben Johnson already has 1. He's working on 2, and he hasn't finished his first year in Chicago. And I know they can't stand Matt LaFleur in Green Bay, but he's got multiple playoff wins, and so does Dan Campbell. They got to start winning postseason games, the Vikings.
Well, oh, by the way, the Green Bay Packers aren't making a change, although I think their fans might want them to.
Yeah. How about that?
Yeah. All right. Coming up next, we're going to talk some NBA and the Minnesota Timberwolves with Richard Coffey.
All right. Don't go away. We are 10K Takes, your purple revolving door quarterback.
Recovery isn't just for elite athletes. It's for anyone who wants to feel better in their body. At $5.10 in Wellness, our infrared sauna and red light therapy help reduce muscle soreness, improve circulation, and support faster recovery. Whether you're training hard, staying active, or just feeling worn down, infrared heat works deep into muscles and joints, while red light therapy supports cellular repair and inflammation reduction. No impact, no downtime. Athlete or not, your body does the work for you every day. Stop in at $5.10 Wellness and start recovering the smart way.
Life moves pretty fast, but not at Freddy's. When that first bite hits, you can't help but slow down. The secret to quality time is just quality and time. That's Freddy's.
Mom, what's wrong with them? That's called quality time. Don't stare.
Stop by any one of Freddy's 6 Minnesota locations.
Seeing clearly matters. Being seen matters more. Nobody cares for eyes more than Pearl.
In Lakeville, Minnesota, dozens of meeting venues are ready to host your next corporate event, banquet, and holiday party. Lakeville has unique conference facilities, a variety of hotels, an abundance of team-building options, and dining that are sure to impress. For suggestions that suit your needs, please call the Lakeville Convention and Visitors Bureau at 952-469-2020 or go to visitlakeville.org. Lakeville, we mean business.
10,000 Takes continues along, and as promised, we are going to talk some basketball with former Gopher Richard Coffey, also played for the Minnesota Timberwolves, and he joins us now from his home in lovely Crystal, Minnesota. Okay, Richard, wow, he's wearing the U of M shirt. You're not getting paid to wear that, I know that much. Your thoughts on where they are right now as a program with Niko Medved and some of the strides maybe that they have made here in the early part of the season?
Well, since I have the shirt on, I think I need to negotiate being part of the revenue sharing over there.
There you go.
Whatever it takes.
That's part of the deal right now in college sports. I think they're off to a good start. You know, they had a couple games. They upset a couple of ranked teams. That's always good. I think, they have some players that's pretty good. I think like most seasons and most teams at the University of Minnesota right now, I think even Ben Johnson was able to recruit some good players. The key is, can you keep them here?
Yeah. Yeah, boy, transfer portal's been a game changer. When you played, Richard, there was no portal, there was no NIL, and you had Clem Haskins, and you guys were rolling, and the barn was jumping. I know we lost Yvette Haskins, Clem's wife, recently. I got to know her a little bit early in my career when I came to the Twin Cities. Just a fabulous woman, kind of the matriarch of the Gopher program when you were there. Tell us about Yvette, and then have you stayed in touch with Clem down in Kentucky?
Yes, for sure. So Miss Haskins passed away. We went down a couple of weeks ago to her services and spent a lot of time with Clem to help celebrate her life. And she was really like a mom to us all. Like I remember one of my great memories of her is the night that my father died. I was a sophomore in college, and Clem called me. I think it was about 12:10 a.m. And he called me and said, "Hey, what you doing?" And he said, "I'm coming over." And I knew my father was sick, so I looked at my girlfriend at the time, who became my wife, and I said, "My father died." And she was like, "How do you know?" I said, "Well, Clem is coming." And then when they knocked on the door, Yvette was standing in front of him, and I said, "Hey, my dad died." And she said, "Yeah." And then she said, "Get your stuff. Get your stuff. You coming with us." And then she took me home, and I stayed there for like the next couple of weeks. I had a safe place to mourn my father and just, felt like I was at home again, which was really an important time for me in my life. So she was missed she was just amazing in her own right. Like Clem was definitely the enforcer of the program, but she was that soft, tender touch that we all needed, especially after a long day of practice when Clem beat the hell out of you, in a practice. It was always nice to get a little love from Yvette.
Probably not a bad thing. All right, let's shift over and talk some Timberwolves now. They have, in general, been pretty good this year, particularly here over the last, I would say, 3 to 4 weeks. They gave up a bunch of points to Cleveland last weekend, so they split the 2 games there. But beat San Antonio, they beat OKC. I mean, they have beat some good teams as well as, dropping a few here and there. Where do you think they're at right now? Are they where they need to be in order to make a run to the finals? Because they're going to have to get through OKC. I don't think there's any question about that.
We have talked about the West for years, right? The West is just always so much stronger than the East, and that's the same thing this year. I think right now they're in a good position. They're healthy, right? I mean, you got to stay healthy. Their superstar is performing at the superstar level.
Yes.
Right. That's super important. And for the most part, they're winning games that they should win. Right. And they're beating, whenever you can beat the champion that's in your conference is always a good thing. And then they just recently beat a good San Antonio team. Right. So I think they're in a good space. Like their key players are playing well. And it's like with anything, like you have to stay healthy. And then you want to make sure you're peaking at the right time, and it's still January. You want to make sure you're playing this well after the All-Star break when everybody's making that push. And if they can stay healthy, I think they got a real good chance. Like I said, the 2 superstars on the team are both playing well, and they're having success.
I was at the San Antonio game. I know they've beaten the Spurs now 5 straight times. That's impressive. But I really eyeballed the guy I call the Eiffel Tower, Victor Wembanyama. I mean, he only got 20, 25 minutes, Richard. He's had a banged up knee. They were coming off a back-to-back. But he really looks like this unicorn out there. Have you seen a player like Wemby? And how high is the bar for this guy?
Like, he's amazing. You just don't find a guy like that. Like you're talking about a generation, or it might be a couple generations, right? To find a guy with his height that has the skill set that he has and that can perform at a high level, most nights on the basketball court. You just don't find many people like that. And he has transformed that team in the short amount of time that he's been there. He's really transformed that team, and he's really changing that position. And And he's a threat. Like when they get a couple more players around him, man, if he can connect with just one more superstar, like they're going to be super dangerous.
Okay, back to your Timberwolves. Do you think, that they need to make a move to get another point guard on board by the trade deadline? Do you think that they will make a move? Because obviously Mike Conley can only play so many minutes. He's still effective. I don't think obviously he's not where he was 5 years ago, or maybe even 3 years ago. Sure. But he's still effective, but unlimited minutes. I mean, you can't play this guy more than 20, 25 minutes or you're going to burn him out. And then they have not, I don't think, gotten what they need out of the rest of that point guard situation. I mean, Ant's bringing the ball up half the time, and you don't want that either. Your thought?
This is the thing. I do think they need another point guard. I think they need someone that can just be a little more consistent. But with that being said, to get the point guard that you're talking about, you're going to have to give up some pieces.
Yeah.
And then does that change the chemistry? If you give up a couple pieces that you're not going to get the player that you want without giving up something that you want to keep.
Right. And the depth is going to be hurt by making a big trade too, right?
It's going to change the chemistry, it's going to change the depth. And then you got to hope other players can step up and fill some of those voids. And then you got to hope the guy that's coming in can perform at the same level that he's been performing at on another team. And that doesn't always happen.
Well, Richard, per usual, we appreciate your perspective, and we will be checking in with you as we roll along here through both the Gophers and Timberwolf season.
Well, thank you, guys. Go Gophers.
Thanks, Richard.
There he is. Former Gopher star, former Minnesota Timberwolf, Richard Coffey. Right here on 10,000 Takes. We'll be back with more after this time out. Stay with us.
Get in the game at St. Croix Casinos in Turtle Lake, Danbury, and Hertel, Wisconsin, your local destination for sports betting. Check out our sportsbook at St. Croix Casinos. From football and soccer to hockey and UFC, you can join the non-stop action. You'll find plenty of options to bet on with our cutting-edge Play Sports kiosks, whether placing live or prop wagers before tuning into the game. That's the book at Turtle Lake, the Red Zone at Danbury, and our sports betting kiosk at Hertel. Find your fortune at St. Croix Casinos.
In Lakeville, Minnesota, dozens of meeting venues are ready to host your next corporate event, banquet, and holiday party. Lakeville has unique conference facilities, a variety of hotels, an abundance of team-building options, and dining that are sure to impress. For suggestions that suit your needs, please call the Lakeville Convention and Visitors Bureau at 952-469-2020 or go to visitlakeville.org. Lakeville, we mean business.
Life moves pretty fast, but not at Freddy's. When that first bite hits, you can't help but slow down. The secret to quality time is just quality and time. That's Freddy's.
Mom, what's wrong with them? That's called quality time. Don't stare.
Stop by any one of Freddy's 6 Minnesota locations.
Seeing clearly matters. Being seen matters more. Nobody cares for eyes more than Pearl.
Welcome back. We are 10,000 Takes, and we have been scratching our heads as to what the Minnesota Twins have been doing this offseason. They go out and get Josh Bell to presumably fill either first base or DH, but have you seen, heard, or know of anything else that triggers your excitement? Because we're less than a month away from pitchers and catchers reporting now, which is good news, of course, because football season is over.
Not quite yet, but well, it is for the Minnesota Vikings.
That's what I mean.
Eric Wagaman, I believe they got him from the Miami Marlins, right?
Okay,
that was a blockbuster trade.
Snore.
Look, this is where the Minnesota Twins are now. That, as you mentioned, Josh Bell. Okay, if you're a Twins fan, you have to be celebrating the fact that as of this recording, Joe Ryan is still on the team, Byron Buxton is still on the team, Royce Lewis is still on the team, and Pablo Lopez. In other words, they haven't gotten rid of anybody. So maybe that's the positive.
Oh, boy.
Hey, that's where we're at. The bar is very low.
Yeah. Well, if you're interested in watching Byron Buxton and Joe Ryan on a winning team, they'll be part of Team USA. Both of them will. Byron was just announced just a few days ago on this Team USA as part of the World Baseball Classic, which I think has gained some traction now over the last couple of years. I think initially it was like, this thing is in the way. But I don't know. It's kind of fun. I think that showdown between Shohei and Mike Trout from a few years ago kind of lifted the image of this thing.
USA, Japan, and Japan won it. I think it's big in the U.S. I think it's huge for Japan.
No doubt.
It's huge for the Latin American countries because if you look at Major League Baseball and the demographic the sport has become, it's a lot of great Latin players. We've seen what Shohei's done, Yoshi Yamamoto and others. Obviously, you have the U.S. guys, some Canadians. I mean, Canada turns out baseball players too. So Mexico, it has become a pretty cool event. The real sticky part of it is if you're a Major League Baseball manager and you're trying to get ready for the regular season, which is where you butter your bread as far as a paycheck goes. Yeah, it's disruptive. And Bob Nightingale of USA Today said something to us the other day. Well, they're not too worried. Like Aaron Boone's not that worried that Aaron Judge is going to go play. But if one of your pitchers, like Joe Ryan, is there and blows an arm out, then what do you do?
Yeah. Well, hopefully they're very cautious with Joe Ryan's right arm. Okay. Some Gopher football information. Coy Parrish is now in the transfer portal, soon to be at Oregon, right? Isn't that what I'm hearing? Okay. I don't know how much he's going to get paid. How does this affect the U of M going forward? I mean, he's one guy on a football team. I thought he had a so-so season this past year. He was lights out as a freshman. Was freshman of the year in the Big Ten, All-American nominee, and all this other stuff. But he was okay this past year. I mean, I'm not saying that they couldn't afford to lose him. They'd love to have this guy back, but he's gone. Thoughts?
Yeah, and I think the Minnesota Gophers probably deep down knew this day might come. Because he was so coveted before he's committed to Minnesota. Right. Look, when you got the Nike money that Oregon has, and Oregon reached the Final Four, I mean, they're consistently competing for a title. Right. I don't know what Coy Parrish is going to get, but I am sure the folks that Just Do It are paying him a lot of money, U of Oregon. The Gophers they can move on without him. I mean, he certainly was one of their top players.
No question.
It does leave them more NIL money to distribute, maybe to a couple of guys.
Yeah. Okay. Half full. That a boy.
I'm just Captain Sunshine today.
Yes, you are.
But the real issue with the Gophers is, and we say it every year, and I'll throw it out there in the universe again.
Yes.
Can they ever take the next step? We're watching Indiana have a historic run. They'll play Miami Monday night. We'll see how that goes. Can the Gophers even sniff that level? I'm not suggesting a title, but where was Indiana 4 years ago? Who was Indiana?
Yeah, below the Gophers.
Yes. What happened?
I don't know. Well, coaching, money, those are two big things in college sports, apparently. I don't know. It's hard to believe. You were at the barn recently. You saw Gopher men's hoops. Still fun to go to the barn?
Yeah. It was odd to see USC come into Minneapolis on a Friday night. It was a good game, 1 point Trojans win. And then 2 days later, a game I didn't personally go to, but Minnesota women beat USC by 1, and the Trojans are ranked on the women's side.
But you like the barn.
I do. I love it. It's a throwback. Obviously, there needs to be some more renovations. They probably need to get it more into 2026. I hope they don't leave the barn, though. I think there's something special about going into a building that's 100 years old, and you look in the rafters and you just look at all the players that have come through here and played in the past. I like it. The raised floor is cool.
Yeah, it is. Just don't fall off.
No.
All right. One more segment to go. Takes of the day. Coming up next, you are watching Minnesota Scores 10,000 Takes. Stay with us.
In Lakeville, Minnesota, dozens of meeting venues are ready to host your next corporate event, banquet, and holiday party. Lakeville has unique conference facilities, a variety of hotels, an abundance of team-building options, and dining that are sure to impress. For suggestions that suit your needs, please call the Lakeville Convention and Visitors Bureau at 952-469-2020 or go to visitlakeville.org. Lakeville, we mean business.
Seeing clearly matters. Being seen matters more. Nobody cares for eyes more than Pearl.
Hey, get your sports fix. By tuning in to 10K Takes, we cover all the Minnesota teams.
Vikings, Twins, Wild, Gophers, you name it. Fox 9 Plus and the Fox Local app.
Get in the game at St. Croix Casinos in Turtle Lake, Danbury, and Hertel, Wisconsin, your local destination for sports betting. Check out our sportsbook at St. Croix Casinos. From football and soccer to hockey and UFC, you can join the non-stop action. You'll find plenty of options to bet on with our cutting-edge Play Sports kiosks, whether placing live or prop wagers before tuning into the game. That's the book at Turtle Lake, the Red Zone at Danbury, and our sports betting kiosk at Hertel. Find your fortune at St. Croix Casinos.
10K Takes on television as we wrap up yet another episode. Big shout out to the viewers in the Twin Ports, the Twin Cities, Med City, all across the great state of Minnesota, a state I'm proud to live in. I'm sure you are too.
I am.
Takes of the day. All right. What's your mood? Angry, cranky, demanding? What is it this week?
Oh, see if we can tip the mood meter here. We've had a couple of positive weeks in a row.
Uh-oh.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm mad, but we'll see. So, as we mentioned a little earlier in the show, spring training just around the corner. Less than a month away from pitchers and catchers reporting down in Fort Myers. That means the Twins Fest is almost here, and yes, it is. January 23rd and 24th, Friday, Saturday. There is no Sunday for those of you who used to go back in the day. They used to be Sunday as well, but they have nixed that. I don't think they get quite the attendance that they used to. And I wonder why. On Friday, all they have is this thing called Twins Live, or Twins Fest Live. $111 a person.
Ouch.
Ouch. Who's going to that? That sounds like a season ticket holder deal. Those guys that are sitting behind home plate, right?
All 10 that are left.
Wow. But then on Saturday is the more traditional Twins Fest where you can go get autographs and so on and so forth. That runs from 9 to 5 over at Target Field, the indoor portions of Target Field, so you don't have to worry about the weather. Adults, $27. Kids, 12 and under, $11. And the list of players who are going to be there has come out. Cody Clemens will be there. No Byron Buxton. Kalen Culpepper will be there. Joe Ryan will be there, and a number of others. Royce Lewis. So I guess get your tickets. Twins Fest is just about here, which means that baseball is right around the corner. I guess that's the good news this time.
All right. Let's see what the mood meter says.
Yeah.
Cranky Yankee.
Yeah.
He's still not in a good mood. It figures. All right. Well, I am in a good mood.
What do you mean it figures?
Yeah. So far, and this will continue after this week's divisional round of playoff games, it's been a dome-free NFL playoffs.
That's true.
We had wild card round games in Chicago, Philadelphia, Charlotte. We also had games in Foxborough, Mass, Jacksonville, Pittsburgh, PA. All of those outdoor venues. This week, home games in Seattle, Chicago again, New England again, and Denver. And the only way we get indoor football for the championship Sunday would be if the Rams beat the Bears and the 49ers beat the Seahawks. Then they would be forced to play in that gigantic mall in Inglewood called SoFi. In the AFC, there is a chance Houston has to beat New England and Buffalo has to win in Denver for the Texans to have a home game, and they have a retractable roof, but we know they'd slam it shut. But and the Super Bowl's at Levi's in Santa Clara, that's open air.
Right.
There's a good chance there won't be one indoor football game in the 2026 NFL tournament. I am beaming.
Oh, yeah.
With joy.
I don't think the commissioner is, though.
I don't care about the commissioner.
I know.
All right, we got to go. Thanks for tuning us in. We are 10K Takes, your sports pick.